Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jupiter James, where I do what I want, when I want, and today I want to get into some astrology. Today we are going to get into the 8th part of my Planets Through the Houses series, and today we're going to get into Neptune, the dreamy, spiritual, mystical planet of Neptune. So whenever I see Neptune in the chart, this is going to indicate that the soul kind of doesn't quite grasp this area of life, and or it's more nebulous to the person. It's more nebulous to the soul to kind of understand. It's kind of too abstract or too spiritual or too wondrous. So let's get into it. So when I see Neptune in the first house, Neptune in the first house is going to be a soul that is their aura is very mystical. Who they are and how they come across is very dreamy and almost fantasy-like to others. So when others see this person, a lot of people put their fantasies on this person. So this could be like the smartest person on the planet, right? But some people will see this person as the meanest or the dumbest or the bitchiest. Like, just according to what that person is dealing with, they will put this on that person. This person could also kind of be very spiritual, very woo-woo, like be into mystic, like their appearance is just very ethereal in a way. So because in the first house is how you come across to others. It's on your ascendant. So this could also mean that you yourself, you don't know how you feel about yourself. You don't really know how you feel about yourself, but you do know that you feel very spiritual. You are a very spiritual person. You are, yeah, like you probably really get to know yourself when you have a little puff puff or a little drinky drink. You know, you feel the most at home in your body when you know, are on substances. So yeah, how does it feel to be so dreamy and mystical? How does it feel to have others put their fantasy on you and you probably use that to your advantage? Like, however you want to see me, you guys can see me, but it can help or harm you. How does that feel? How does that feel? It must feel nice to have magic at your fingertips, you know? So with Neptune in the second house, this is gonna mean that this person, money and attaining resources and security is very nebulous to this person. They probably grew up in a very spiritual family or a family that was like very, I don't know why I get like cult vibes or like, I don't know, but with this, your values are gonna be more centered around dreaminess and spirituality and just like wonderability, and like you don't really quite know tangibly what your values are, but you do know that your values are of something in a higher realm, on a higher plane. That's what you really like. And like, to attain money, sometimes you don't even know how you get money, but it just comes. Like, you're like, I don't know how I always get money, but for some reason you're just like, you get it, you know? Yeah. So with Neptune in the third house, this is going to be someone whose mind is caught up in the realm of spirituality. You probably speak and people probably don't really understand what you're saying unless you're talking about spirituality. Like, how you feel and how you think and how you process things could be on a very spiritual manner. And this could also lead into the territory of like lying or being deceitful in a way, because for you, it's like what you speak and what you think is like in fantasy. It's you're in your own little fantasy world in your mind, and you're like, what I say is just like whatever. Like, who cares if I said this is that? Like, what? It doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Like, you could be very nebulous in the way you think, in the way that your mind processes things, and the way you come across articulately or communicatively can be very, very spiritual or very just like, people don't understand. People can't pick up what you're putting down because it's all the way up there and they need a fucking elevator to get up there. Like, they need like a spaceship to get to where you are. So yeah, with Neptune in the fourth house, this is going to mean that this person probably had a very spiritual mother. This person probably had a very a mom that probably struggled with alcohol. You probably, when you go home and in your private life, you love alcohol. You probably in your private life or at home, you just love substances and things that like make you feel good at home. You probably have crystals at home. You probably like want to be very, very creative with your home. Like, your home is probably the most spiritual thing to you, and like, you just really, really love to make a nice fantasy like home. Like, if you could live in a cottage in the middle of the woods and like have elves run around, that's how you want to make your home feel. Like, you would feel at home with that. So Yeah, that's Neptune in the fourth house. How does it feel to make your home a magical fairy tale? How does that feel to like have your home be the most creative thing that is in your life? Or like this could also lend into the territory of like you not really understanding how to get a home or how to lock down a home. Like your childhood was probably very abstract to you, and you probably don't really remember much from your childhood. And if you do, your childhood was very mystical and spiritual and just very like, I don't know, like a fantasy almost. Like sometimes you probably think back on your childhood and you go, did that really happen? Like, did that really happen? Like, huh? And like sometimes with your mom, your mom could have also probably lied to you, or she could be very mystical or abstract or just gone because of substances or something like that, but she probably also lies to you. She's probably very creative. She's probably just like you in the sense that like she is very dreamy, very just like out of touch, but she loves to make a home, you know? Yeah, so with Neptune in the fifth house, this is a great placement because this placement, for me at least, is like, it indicates that your creativity and creativity and spirituality are one with you. When you create, you feel the most spiritual. When you create, you pull down stuff from the ethers and you just make these most creative, beautiful things and expressions. And in your dating life, this could also be a little bit going into the left territory where it's like you probably find yourself dating people who lie to you or are dreamy and mystical, and you have to be very careful with that. It could be like in the highest expression of this and the most healed expression of this could mean that you attract very spiritual, creative people. On the lower octave of this could mean that you attract people who kind of lie to you and you don't quite grasp the situation. You probably put your fantasies on your partners or on your prospecting partners, and like it's not that way. Like sometimes it requires you to snap out of it for you to go, oh, this is what this is. This is a situationship, not a marriage. Oh, I'm the side chick, I'm not the one. Like it's like that. But like in the relationship, you will feel like, oh, I'm the main chick and I am, you know, we're in an actual committed relationship where both of us know what's going on. So be careful of that. Be careful of being swindled within your dating life and in your relationships. Yeah. So with Neptune in the sixth house, this could mean that for you probably work in a very spiritual field. This going into the house of service, which is the Virgo house, this is going to mean that your work is tied to spirituality and you healing others. This is like you laying down your life on the line to heal others and bring the best out of people. And this could also mean that you could be extremely humble with this, almost like a spiritual leader. Or yeah, so with Neptune in the sixth house, this is going to mean that you also like could fall susceptible to people who lie to you in your career, or this could indicate other spiritual leaders, other people who are spiritual like you are your enemies, which is kind of ironic, right? Like you would think that spiritual people who are like each other would get along, but for you, this could also lend into the people that you got to kind of look out for, because they may appear nice, but they probably have it out for you in one way or another. Again, this could mean you're a healer, you're a spiritual guru, you're an astrologer, you're a massage therapist, you are a healer in some way in your job, or your job requires you to call on higher faculties of spirituality in your mind to be creative or heal or do what you got to do in your career. So yeah, that's Neptune in the sixth house. With Neptune in the seventh house, this is going to mean that this is going to be someone who attracts people and business partnerships who are on the more spiritual side of things. Like you probably love to align yourself with careers that force you to be spiritual or help you make others spiritual, or in some way or another. You also, when it comes to the people you attract though, you have to look out for the rose-colored glasses. You have to look out for putting your fantasies on others, because most times people can use this to their advantage and probably get one over on you. Like, this could mean that you, at the highest level, you attract people who are spiritual and creative just like you. at the lowest level, this could mean that you attract people who, for a moment, they fit your fantasy, but eventually they show you that they aren't the person that you thought they were. And like, this could mean that it just means that you have to be a little bit more practical in your relationships, because this could attract liars. This could attract people who have drug problems or addiction problems or things that make you feel the need to want to save them, like, you know, or fix them or heal them. And so you have to look out for that. I would highly, highly suggest that when you are dating, you have to put yourself in a box and be like, look, when you date for practicality, date for what people are actually showing you, not what you think or what you feel, because although you feel a person can like you, and they very well might, don't let that be the be-all end-all. Let a person show you in the real 3D reality what they can do for you, and if they can't do anything for you, you run the other way. You run the other way, because if not, you will continue to attract people who lie to you and who use you, because they know you have a giving sense about you, and you have to curb that. You have to be able to say, no, I am only going off of what people do for me in the real world. If on paper you can't write down what someone is actually doing for you, go the other way. If on your paper you're writing down, oh, but they're so sweet and I think that they're this way and, you know, we could live. No, do not date the potential. Do not date the fantasy of a person. Do not date the potential of a person. Date a person for who they actually are in reality, and it will save yourself a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, and a lot of trauma. And it will also hire your Neptune in the 7th house. It will also train your Neptune in the 7th house to not attract those people, because you are gonna curb that energy and force it to attract people who are spiritual and who do have integrity and who are creative. And that way, you know, you don't find yourself in these tiffs, you know, like, because I'm sure the reason why you're even looking at this section is because you're like, why do I always attract these liars? Like, why do I always attract people who I think that the relationship is going one way, but it turns out a completely other way? It's because you like to get in your head and place the fantasy of love and the fantasy of the relationship on people when it's not that way, because you're going after the wrong people. Yeah. So with 7th house, with Neptune in the 8th house, this is going to mean that this person is very spiritual. This person has very spiritual transformations over the course of their life. This person is probably very, very good at astrology, very good at mysticism, and very good at occultism and things like that. Like, I would really highly suggest you using your gifts for good and using your gifts to heal people, as far as like helping people transform. You can be a very good like transformational coach, or someone who helps people transform their situations. You have a way about you in your mind, in your Neptunian ways. You see into the depths of people. You know exactly what people need in order to help their situations and help them transform their situations for the better. You probably also use your spirituality to get money out of other people. You use your spirituality to, sex is probably very spiritual for you. Sex and having sex and being intimate with someone is probably the most spiritual you feel in your life. Like, you're just like, wow, like, I just feel God in the bedroom. When I have sex, I feel God in the bedroom. You know, I feel the most connected and tapped in when I have an orgasm. Like, that could be very much you. You use sex to tap into your higher spiritual faculties, and you could also be very good at tantric sex, or yeah, like, how does that feel? How does that feel to like use sex as a way to communicate with God? How does that feel? It must feel nice. Are you very creative when it comes to sex? Do you like to smoke up and spark up and drink a little drink when you have sex? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. So with Neptune in the 9th house, it's gonna be someone who, when you travel, you feel the most spiritual. When you travel and you learn about new cultures and new philosophies of the world and higher truths of the world, you feel the most spiritual. You probably have very, very, very high ideals and high truths and very, just the highest of ideals. This almost gives me very much like preacher vibes, like where you are like, you hit the pinnacle of philosophy to the point where it becomes spirituality. Like, there we go, where it's like philosophy and spirituality are one and the same for you. Like it's almost like scripture for you. Like, so yeah, like how does that feel that when you travel, you feel the most spiritual? How does that feel? I'm sure it feels amazing. So yeah, with Neptune in the 10th house, this is gonna mean that this person probably is a spiritual figure of some sort. This person probably also in their career can come off very nebulous to other people. You probably are a guru to others. You are someone who people look up to and they're like, oh my God, like give me the spiritual message, or help me heal this, or help me heal that. Like you are probably, this gives me very much, for lack of better, this gives me very much like Jesus Christ vibes, where it's like people look to him and he had a spiritual aura around him, and that was his job. At the end of the day, what he did was his job. It was his occupation. It was his 10th house showing out to the world that this is what I do. So I don't know. Are you like a spiritual guru of some sort? Are you an astrologer? Are you someone that people look to heal them in your career? Also, yeah, like, yeah, are you in a creative field? Are you in a field where people put a fantasy on you, and like you just have an image in the film industry, or an actor, or something where it's like you are removed from the public and people put a fantasy on you though? Like people still know you, but they put a fantasy on you and you are there to help make their lives better. Like, is that you? Like, if you have Neptune in the 10th house, I would love to know how that manifests exactly. Could you write down in your chart exactly in your 10th house with the sign what that manifests as? I would love to know. All right, so with, what is it? Neptune in the 11th house, this is gonna mean, again, I always say it, whenever you have 11th house placements, this means that the universe has placed a mission on you to bring something to the table that can help the collective. You know, we all have that one thing that if we bring it to the table, we can help the world and shape the world in a beautiful way. Like, what would the world look like if we all brought that one thing that we do, and we do it well, to the table? Imagine what this life would look like. And so whenever I see placements, planetary placements in the 11th house, it means you have been given a gift so that you can spread it to the world and make us better. And so with Neptune in the house of the collective, in the house of humanitarian efforts and large organizations and dreams and wishes, this is gonna mean that you are meant to bring something of spiritual nature or of a healing nature to the public. Something that heals the public in the future or now, you need to work on it. Whatever it may be, whether it's your creativity, your message, your spirituality, your healing methods, something you need to invent, bring to the table, or do for the collective. And I'm waiting on it. We're waiting on it. So I encourage you to do it. Just do it. Like, it can be anything. It could be a painting. It could be a psychedelic or something. Like, it could be anything that you have been inventing in your mind that you're like, you know what, if I bring this to the table, it could help a lot of people. It could save a lot of people. Like, that is what you're meant to do. So yeah, with Neptune in the 12th house, this is gonna mean that this is someone who is very spiritual. Neptune is at home here in the 12th house, and so I'd say that like this person is probably very spiritual. They probably really understand spirituality very well. They get it. They just know what is going on within this existence and within the universe. And yeah, like, you are just very, very spiritual. You probably also want to help people. You probably also want to save and nurture and sacrifice people and heal people in whatever modality you are really good at or adept in. And I would encourage that. I would encourage, you're probably very psychic as well, extremely psychic. This is like medium placement. This is channeling placement. This is psychic placement. So yeah, bring it to the table. Do your thing. Keep doing your thing. I love it. Like, it's really amazing. How does it feel to be so psychic? How does it feel to just know? Like, you probably were able to look at birth charts or just look at people in general and know exactly what they're going through and like what you need to do for them to make their lives better. Try not to get into the people pleasing or sacrificial part of this energy, because this could lend it's energies of like you want to put yourself out and like you want to fall on the sword so that others don't have to, and that's not. Listen, if you hurt you, if you make yourself crazy and you hurt yourself in an effort to help others, then what? How will you help? How then what? If you both are crazy, if you both are injured, then what? You need to preserve who you are so that you can continue to help people in large numbers, not just one or two or three. You have to learn to preserve yourself so that you can continue to bring all of that magic to the world. So yeah, that was my planets through the houses series. That was Neptune. I do birth chart readings, love and career readings, destiny readings, solution oriented readings, karmic readings. Listen, I know the stars have a solution for you and I would love to relay the message. Hit my links below for a birth chart reading and I will see y'all on the next one, all right? I love y'all. Have a good day.